Hey, Mark Brouker here, San Diego, California. Brouker Leadership Solutions. Hey, first, thank you so much for the comments and the feedback from the past videos I've done. A couple weeks ago, I sent one out and I got a lot of good feedback. So thank you so much. Keep those comments coming. I really appreciate it. It helps me kind of fine tune what to talk about. And so last time we talked about was we started a series, and this is the second part of the series. Is really the bottom line is this: is what is the number one stressor for leaders? And not surprisingly for me, because I was never good at this, I said this last time, was having a difficult conversation with an employee. That's the number one stressor for all leaders across all industries. So that kind of made me feel good because, frankly, I was never good at this, as I said last time. But I want to get better at it. I've studied a little bit, and I want to share some things that helped me along the way. People have told me about how to do this better. So last time we talked, just a real quick recap. We talked about, hey, when you have a difficult conversation, have some flexibility in the backside of the conversation. You don't want to be constrained by time because you could be near a breakthrough because these are extremely important conversations and you don't want to be constrained with time. So don't have a big meeting with your boss at the back end of your difficult conversation with an employee. Let it go on for as long as frankly it needs to, because you get a breakthrough, they walk out of there maybe still disappointed but not bitter, and that's a beautiful thing. So what I want to talk about this time is a beautiful habit that is not mine. I wish I could say it was mine, but it was from Stephen Covey. Here's the book right here, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you ever hear me speak, I always reference that book because Dr. Covey was iconic in this field of leadership development. I've learned so much from him, probably more than from most leaders, frankly, or most leadership development gurus. He was iconic. He passed away a few years ago. Big loss to the industry of leadership development. And I reference him in my book at least 3 times, I think. And one of the things I talk about in my book and when I give my talks is how do you structure a conversation? What happened is someone from the last talk, they did send in, they said, that's good stuff, Mark, but how do you structure these difficult conversations? And that I immediately thought of Dr. Covey. So here's what Dr. Covey says, and what I started doing probably about 25 years ago is basically, when you sit someone down and you're going to have a difficult conversation, your lead is going to be something like this. Help me understand why, fill in the blank. Help me understand why you're coming in late. Help me understand why you're not performing. You got to make more mistakes than other people. It's a beautiful thing. In his book, I think it's chapter 5, he speaks about that. But let me just let's tell you a quick story. I was running the pharmacy in Bethesda, Maryland many years ago. I was way over my head. It was a busy place. And we had 5 technicians come in at the same time. And the way it works in Navy medicine, I'm sure in most operations, is the technicians fill the prescriptions and the pharmacists check them. And that's what we had at our pharmacy there. But what happened is 4 of these technicians, good to go, no problems. One technician was making many more errors than the others. Fortunately, they were checked and none went into the patient. It was all good. But it was risky business. And I was getting kind of frustrated. So I told the chief, I said, hey, I'm going to sit down and talk to Petty Officer Adams. And it was obviously not his name, but we got to square this guy away. We're going to have a problem here. I'm going to talk to him. And the chief said, sir, let me do the counseling. Let me do it since I'm his immediate boss. You can be there, but let me do it. Wise counsel letting the chief do it. Because here's what happened, man, is he sat that kid down. I'll never forget this. And the kid was nervous, obviously. And the chief said something like this. He goes, you're making more errors than the other 4 that came in with you. And he said, help me understand what's going on. And that's all he said. And there was silence. And this kid was, he was obviously nervous. And there was a silence. I don't like silence. I almost said something, and thank goodness I kept my mouth shut. Silence is good. Silence is okay. And this went on for probably 10 seconds. It maybe felt like 10 minutes, but it went on for 10 seconds probably. And finally the kid said, Chief, here's the deal, is I'm staying at the BEQ, the Bachelor Enlisted Quarters, kind of the dorms for some of the young enlisted kids at Bethesda at the time. And the heat's not really working well. And it's cold. It was January. I remember it was January. It's cold in D.C. in January. And the kid wasn't sleeping well. Because if he could give me some heat in the room or move my room or give me a blanket, I think I'd be good to go. I don't know what happened. All I know is the kid stopped making errors. And I talked to the chief a couple weeks later. He goes, yeah, we moved his room. He's good to go, sir. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I was going to sit down and talk to this kid and say, hey, man, you got to focus. You got to focus. We're going to have an error here. And that never would have solved anything. That was my aha moment of how to structure a difficult conversation. So if you have an employee who's not performing where you want to perform, and again, remember that the performance of a team is not dictated by what you say, it's dictated by what you tolerate. So these discussions must take place if someone's not performing where you want them to be. So how you structure that conversation, have the data in front of you, and say, help me understand and fill in the blank. And man, when I started doing this, I wish I kept track, but probably 7 out of 10 times it was something personal in their life. Their husband was getting cancer treatment in the morning. That's why they were coming in a few minutes late. Man, and once you can get your arms around that and help solve that with the employee, wow, that's a game changer. They're going to trust you. They're going to know that you care and you can help solve the problem, and it's a beautiful thing. So that's it for now. So bottom line is this is again, number one stressor for leaders is having a difficult conversation. We must have these difficult conversations. It's a part of the job. A great way to structure is using Stephen Covey's magic. Help me understand, fill in the blanks. Next time we talk, we'll talk about when that doesn't work and what your recourse is. But for now, let me end it. Thanks so much. Keep those comments coming. And out here from Brouker Leadership Solutions in San Diego, California. Have a good one. Bye-bye.